Have you ever felt like you're this close to success, but somehow always getting in your own way? I was that guy, self sabotaging and watching opportunities slip through my fingers. In this video, I'll reveal how self sabotage almost destroyed my life, the breakthrough that changed everything, and the neuroscience backed system I now use to help entrepreneurs just like you break free. If you don't know who I am, I'm Luke Anning. I have a top 2% podcast called the Happy Positive Energy Game, and I help entrepreneurs stop self sabotaging and get out of their own way. So if you haven't liked, subscribe, make sure to check in. Now, I want to just reflect a little bit back earlier this year. And I thought I was in this space of just procrastinating, but in reality, I was trapped in this cycle of overthinking, perfectionism, and avoiding tough decisions. And for me, it started with little things. I would scroll social media, I would binge watch YouTube late at night, and then I would also go and on pornography. And it spiraled into losing clients, missing opportunities, and feeling like a failure. And if this sounds familiar, it's not your fault. Self sabotage is wired into our brains to protect us from discomfort. It's your brain saying, hey, I'm outside of my comfort zone right now. Let me just retract and bring you back to baseline, and then we'll go from there. And it's also the number one reasons why most entrepreneurs plateau. So, how did I escape? It started with one game changing realization. And really, the realization was that self sabotage isn't just a flaw, it's a pattern. And patterns can be rewired. So every time I felt overwhelmed, I'd retreat into distractions. I started tracking those triggers: stress, self doubt, fear of failure, and realizing that they weren't random. And it actually comes down to FIRE framework, which is a framework that I've come up for with self sabotage. F stands for false identity. It's an alignment with you having a lack of self worth, you not being worthy of achievements, and having a poor self concept. This can look like in business, not charging the prices that you want to do. Maybe you have a $2,000 price, a $5,000 price, a $50,000 price, and you want to charge more, but there's a part of you that isn't allowing you, that you're struggling to. And even when you do, you then in your sales self-sabotage yourself by being in your shell and not being your best version of yourself on those calls or in those sales opportunities. That could be something from fire that could be resonating with you. I is invisible rules. Some people call these limiting beliefs, but these are the stories that you're telling yourself that are repeating these patterns in your life. If you believe delegating things to a team is going to be hard and nobody's going to be able to do it as good as you, and therefore you're not going to trust your team, you're not going to trust your systems, you're not even going to build the systems that other people are going to do, that other people are going to use because you feel like they're not going to be successful. R is resistance to expansion or your upper limit problems. This is a concept of you having progress, you getting momentum, you making some sales, and then maybe you feel guilty about outshining the people around you, or maybe you fear losing what you've already gained. Maybe you finally hit 10 to 30K months, but immediately stop messaging leads or raising your rates or continuing doing calls saying like, hey, I'm just going to take a break right now. Like I'm doing really well. I deserve a break. Right. And I'm not saying you don't deserve rest, but I'm saying this could be your limitation at the same time. It's like having your thermostat set at 70 degrees Fahrenheit. When it gets too warm, your brain cools you back to a familiar level. And what you need to realize is it's safe to grow beyond what you've known, but this is what's self-sabotaging. And E for fire is excessive control. So resistance to change. You need to micromanage and control outcomes. And this is driven by the unknown. So you avoid delegating due to perfectionism. You overthink every step, leading to analysis by paralysis. Paralysis by analysis, whichever one you want to label it as. Rejecting guidance because it feels unsafe. I see people do this all the time in coaching containers. They reject the guidance from their coach after they're doing really well, and this is because they have this excessive control within them. Insisting on doing everything because you don't trust a virtual assistant to meet your standards. Demanding step-by-step instructions rather than experimenting and trusting your instincts. So there's a blend of things here. Now, what's key to look at here is this spiral of overwhelm that can happen. So, I used to start my day with the best intentions. I was like, hey, today we're going to crush it. I'm going to be able to do this thing. And then I just had this spiral of distractions. So the first distraction would be checking my phone first thing in the morning. Then it would look like scrolling on Instagram. And then I would have important tasks that I needed to do, like film YouTube videos or um, get ready for sales meetings or whatever that was. And then that snowballed into frustration, missed deadlines, and guilt. I didn't feel like I was worthy again of my achievements. And when I noticed this pattern, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm self-sabotaging. I was like, oh my gosh, like here we are with it. Um, but I lost like years of success. I'd lost opportunities. Like in my first year I'd make 10K a month, and then the next month I would make minus, and then the next month I would make 17K. And then it would just be this up and down roller coaster because I was self-sabotaging all the time. Now, you want to think of your self-sabotage like this. So when you're identifying what your triggers are, what the things are, this is you where you're currently at. This is you where you're currently at. And then we've got you outside of the comfort zone. So here is your comfort zone. This is you now in growth zone. Now, growth zone, brilliant because you're now expanding. But within growth zone, we've got kind of this spider web, right? This spider web of distractions. You've got your phone, you've got team members messaging you, you've got more clients to deal with. So you've got to talk to them and deal with that. Um, you've got more calls on the calendar or more appointments booked. So then it's like, oh my gosh, like I feel like I'm not getting any time for myself right now. You've got other people still wanting your time and your energy because you're more successful now. So more people want to talk to you. So you've got all these different things that you're having to deal with that are already outside of your comfort zone. And if you go and do these things and you're not applying effective boundaries, you're going to self sabotage and you're going to go back to your comfort zone. You're going to retract to a point where you don't get as many messages from clients because you're not onboarding as many clients. You don't get as many messages from your team because your team have left or they're not getting the results that they wanted from your business and they leave. So this can happen. This is the reality of business. Now, one of these things that you need to do is you actually need to replace these habits with effective habits. So rather than just messaging all of your clients whenever, maybe you have certain blocks in your calendar when you do client replies, and then you let them know that that's when you do replies and that's when you're going to respond. That then not only makes people respect you more as a leader, but then also you can manage your time and energy better. So, for example, I only do calls with clients on Mondays and Fridays, except for a tiny group clinic on a Wednesday morning. That way I have space for my brain and for everything else to operate in my business that everything else demands from on the Tuesday, Thursday, and then Saturday if I choose to work, right? Sunday I don't work. But that's how I've habitualized me having space for giving my energy to all of my clients, but also at the same time, not self sabotaging to a point of retracting because I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm so burnt out from one to one calls. Because for me, I like to give all my clients one to one calls because I can see that they need my one to one help right now. So there may be an opportunity for you, right? Now, step two here is you need to rewire your mindset through emotional regulation. So, through emotional regulation techniques like neurolinguistic programming and mindfulness, I learned to pause, breathe, and respond, not react. Let me give you an example. When I was in my last business partnership, I was initially came in as an appointment setter. Then I very quickly in the first 2 weeks moved up to closing as I was the top appointment setter. And then I very quickly moved into closing. And then I very quickly became the top closer within a couple of weeks again. And at the same time, I was trying to regulate my partner at the time. There was also my business partner. And I was trying to regulate me. I was also trying to expand on the program that we had, as well as operate as the top setter, the top closer, and manage some of the team as well, because the management wasn't quite there as well. So I had all these different things going on our very high performing 300K a month team. Let me show you the list of like why I was top operator real quick. If you have an appointment setter or a closer and they don't have an on-call or off-call checklist, you're already missing out on their potential. But anyhow, I created this based off of some other trainings that I saw online. And on-call checklist, it sounds so stupid, but laptop charge, prep with breathing, which I'll get into in a second. Relevant testimonials with notes placed into my document. Agreements have the clauses for the year, and ask who do they know, and set up meetings with other people at the end of the call. So this was like an end of the call checklist. And then off call checklist. The minute that I got off a call, I celebrate, hey guys, we just closed this person, or hey, this didn't work out. This is the reason why. And I do my notes and do due diligence. The minute that I do it, I was straight into messaging my hot list, confirming and calling new appointments, sometimes triple dialing people, sending Mr. Bean messages if there weren't any replies, marking our CEO's calendar as free if there were no responses within 2 hours, dialing no shows, dialing the furthest out appointments to drag them up into the calendar, using my follow up template to follow up. I created this 120-day follow up framework. If you want this from me, just message me, follow up, like all good. Filled out anybody that filled out applications. So like I would just go through all these filters on our CRMs and just dial, anywhere up to 400 dials a day. So I was just relentless. I was like, I'm going to be the best person on this team. Like, I will carry this team if I need to carry this team. Like, it was a mindset. It was a mindset. And anybody that you know that's a good salesperson or good entrepreneur is a little bit loose, a little bit crazy. And I was like, I'm going to be the best person on this team. That's what I was operating on daily. But it's very fast paced when you're operating like that, and that wasn't how I wanted to operate all the time. I wanted to be grounded and I wanted to learn skills as fast as I could, but I needed a different practice, right? One, we've got cognitive knowing, so that you have an intellectual understanding. The first level knowing, where you intellectually grasp a concept or idea and you understand it logically or theoretically, but it remains abstract. In other words, you've read about how to ride a bike, you understand the mechanics, but you don't actually, you need to actually focus on acquisition of that knowledge. Same with breathing. You know that you should breathe. You probably have tried the breathing before, which is in the physical knowing, the second level, where you're in this skill-based mastery aspect, but you're not regularly practicing it where it's fully integrated. When it's fully integrated, that's emotional knowing, and that's the deepest level of intuitive knowing. So how this looks in my schedule now is I will do a quick deep breath exercise before I move into a new task, before I'm even filming this YouTube video for you right now. And it's so simple. All you've got to do is inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 8. And while I do that, I visualize how I want the next thing to go. So if I want to present really well to you guys, I'm going to hold for 4, 7, 8. And what this allows you to do is it allows your brain to be set up for success. That's how I like to look at it. It's like your brain is being set up for success. Not only am I calming my nervous system, but I'm also visualizing what I want the outcome to look like. So if you're moving very fast paced, you have a lot of things that you're juggling and you have a lot of things in your head and all that stuff. Really helpful exercise that you can do today. Just breathe, visualize how you want the thing to go. Boom, go into it. I have an itchy nose, forgive me. Now, part 3 here is actually building systems to scale. A system is simply a strategy repeated, tweaked, edited, improved over time. Systems create freedom. So for me, I designed a simply daily routine to prioritize my top tasks, block distractions, and ensure consistent progress. It's how I went from 5K to 25K in just 5 weeks with another business partner before my last one. And that was all completely mapped out. And every Sunday morning is my 90-minute power planner exercise. Within that, I map out my week and I use the 6-step process. And this creates clarity, eliminates decision fatigue, and keeps me focused. Now, I actually broke down this whole system here in another video. So if you want to learn more about that, then just go and click ahead in somewhere in the video. I also will tag the video down below. But what's key to realize is with these 3 steps, this system didn't just work for me. It's helped countless entrepreneurs. It's something like Javier used, who went from working 5 hours on projects down to 2, which, if you translate that into saved hours in the week, can you imagine if you saved yourself 3 hours a day on tasks that you're just here, there, and everywhere on because your self-sabotage is going crazy, you're distracted, you're not as focused as you could be? Like 3 hours a day is 7 days a week, is 21 hours a week. That's almost 80, it's over 80 hours a month. Can you imagine what you would do if you had 80 hours a month back for yourself because you weren't distracted and you were focused and you weren't self-sabotaging and you were actually doing the things that you need to? Like, imagine what your life would look like if you had clarity, confidence, consistency. Your business would operate without all the chaos, without the friction. So, if you're tired of getting in your own way, it's time to break free. If you want to learn a little bit more about how to go through the next steps, join my community, the Get Out of Your Own Way community. I've put in a ton of client trainings, including some of the ones that took Justin from 25K a month to 57K a month. The community is currently free as I'm making this video, and this will help you stop self-sabotage and scale your business with ease. It's linked down below. But if you're ready for deeper transformation, then what I would recommend you do is book a free consultation call with me, and let's map out your path to ensure clarity and scalable growth. Getting out of my words, by eliminating self-sabotage and getting out of your own way so you can focus, grow, and scale. So with that said, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.